Hey, hello, this is Victor Momo. In this video, I want to talk about the creative use of the indirect function. Well, of course, the first question would be what's the indirect function and what is it used for? I've lifted from support.office.com, the definition, if you may, or description of the function. It says it returns the reference specified by a text string. That's where I would like to stop. This is by no means a comprehensive video on indirect function, but just to show a certain use case. So what does this mean? Indirect function. So you just give it a text string, which it can then translate into a reference and return whatever is in that reference. Now, let's assume I want to pick Tokyo here. I will just do equals to what? A2. That's like directly, just pointing at the cell and picking it. But if I wanted to go using the indirect function, what I would do is I can have the address of Tokyo, which is A2, written somewhere as a text. I then use the indirect function, point to that cell. That cell is actually H2, right? But inside the cell, I have A2. So what it's going to do is going to look into H2. It will see A2 there. It would ask itself, okay, what's A2? A2 is a cell reference. Oh, okay, so what is in A2? Tokyo. So now you see it's going to be able to return Tokyo, but this is not like a direct extraction of what is in A2. Rather than point straight to A2, you are pointing to another cell that has the A2 string in there. An indirect function can help return it. Okay, so do you see how that works? Compare it to this. This is pointing straight, which is like direct. If there was a function like that, this would be a direct function. Here, what are you doing? You're pointing to another cell, which has the cell reference you're looking for in there, and then it returns it. So that's kind of the concept of the indirect. Very simple. There are, of course, more complicated cases, but I think this just gives you an idea, first of all. Okay, so what am I trying to do here? I have a couple of locations, Tokyo, London, and Abuja. And Cape Town rather. And I want to return, these are maybe my sales persons in those cities, and I want to return the total sale from each of those cities. So it's always on row 9. So B9, C9, D9, E9, and also same thing everywhere. When I come here, if I want to return for Tokyo, I would have to do equals to, and select Tokyo. But of course, if I want to do London again, I have to come again, do equals to, London, and select London. If I had like 50 cities, I would have to do that 50 times. That obviously can be, an efficient way to do it. There must be a better way. So you can take advantage of the indirect function to do this. Equals to Tokyo B9. That's the formula really that we want. So let me just use the formula text here to kind of extract it. I could easily do copy and paste, but maybe just to show another function anyway. Okay, so this is really what we want, equals to Tokyo B9, but before the B9 you have an exclamation mark. So what I'm going to do is just to use the indirect function to create exactly what you see in there. And rather than type Tokyo in directly, I will pick Tokyo from this cell A2, in such a way that when the formula is dragged down, it can pick London, Abuja, and Cape Town, and it can return, the values from those cells. So just watch the formula here. This is just what I'm trying to recreate, nothing bigger than this. I do indirect, indirect. Okay, to get Tokyo, I point to this cell that will give me my Tokyo. What do I need? I need an exclamation, and I need B9. I close. 93. If I drag this down, it's going to work except for Cape Town. So you see, I get my 93, which is Tokyo. I can do control page down to go to the next. You see my 141, 93, 141, 114. Let's go back. 93, 141, 114. So we are correct so far. But what happened with Cape Town? Cape Town didn't work. You look at the name of the sheet and you look here, you see that it's pretty much the same. You're like, okay, so what's going on? Let's pick a cell from Cape Town and see what it looks like. So equals to Cape Town, pick this yourself. Now, do you see anything different? You realize that once the name has a space in it, it starts it with an apostrophe, then ends with an apostrophe before the exclamation mark, right? Which is different from Tokyo. So look at this. Okay, So compare this with this. Because Tokyo didn't have a space in between, you just pick Tokyo, you just pick Cape Town. So most times, since you wouldn't know whether your names may have spaces or not, it's better to create your formula in this manner that factors in spaces. If there are spaces, it's going to work. If there are no spaces, it will still work. So I'm going to adjust my formula to look like this. So what does that mean? It means that before the A2, the Tokyo, I need an exclamation mark. So I open a double quote, exclamation mark, double quote. I concatenate that with A2. So it's like saying an apostrophe Tokyo. At the end of A2, before I get to the B9 and the exclamation, so before the exclamation, I need another single quote. Just trying to create exactly what you see here. I have a single quote, I have the name, I have a single quote, I have an exclamation, and I have B9. So let's do this. So you can see it still works for Tokyo, and let's drag it down. Now it works for Cape Town. Okay, so with this, even if I had more names of cities or locations, once I drag this formula down, it will pick what I need from them. Now, the only problem maybe I may have here is I need to drag this right to create for C2, for B9. So I need it for C9, D9, E9. Okay, but one other thing I might need to do is to put a dollar before the A2 here, just so that it's always picking Tokyo, London. It's not moving out of column A. So, okay, that's fine. But now when you drag this formula right, what happens? It just stays as 93, 93, 93. Why? Because your B9 is within the quotes, of course. And for that reason, it's not going to move. Okay, let me show you one way maybe I can fix this. I can put my B9 here, C9, D9, oops, D9 and E9. So here, where I point to B9, rather than do that, I could say, okay, fine, I've gotten to the point of the exclamation, which is here, and I'm left with B9. So rather than B9, I'll pick B9 from the cell where I've written B9. Okay, so I'm going to do this and then add this to this cell. Okay, B1. But you know, when I drag right, I want the formula to move right, but I don't want it to move down. I always want it to reference this row. So I'm going to put a dollar just before the one. I'm going to leave the B so that when I drag the formula to the right, it can work for column C, column D, column E. So let's see if this works. Okay, 93. Let's drag down. That's fine. Let's take it right. Okay, you see that it works. You can check with Tokyo. 93, 87, 97, 94. If you remember what I just said, that's what you're seeing here, right? So what is this and how is it working? I know that this whole expression here is going to give me my Tokyo or whatever name I have in there. I can press F9 to evaluate. So you can see the Tokyo and you see the apostrophe. The only thing I need now is the B9. The B9, it can get it from this cell. Okay, because I've had coded B9 in there. And when I drag to the right too, for this guy, it's going to use C9 here, D9 here, E9, and so on. Okay, so that's one way you can fix it still within the indirect function. But someone else might be like, well, this cell should actually have been Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. You know, that's what they really should be. So, what if I had Q1, Q3, Q4 in here? Is there any other way I can probably get my B9, C9, D9, and E9? Okay, so let's see. We know that this part we are fine here because this part is what gives us Tokyo and apostrophe. I'm sorry, and an exclamation mark like we see here. So we just need B9 to add to that. And we need a formula that can also move to the right and give C9, D9, E9. So you can use the address function. The address function allows you to feed it with, like a row and column number, so that from the row number and the column number, it can give you a cell and a cell reference. You know that a cell, of course, is just the intersection between a row and a column. So what I can do is What's going to be my row number? I know my row number is 9 because I always want to pick from row 9. What about my column number? Because I want to pick B9, B is column 2. That's fine. But when I move the formula to the right, I want 2 to become 3. When I move it again, 3 should become 4 and 4 should become 5. Okay, so I can hard code the 9. The 9 is fine because I need it in B9, but I can't hard code the 2 for my column B because if not, the formula won't be dynamic. So rather than 2, I'm going to use another function which I know when I move right can increment. So I can use columns. Columns tells me how many columns I have in a reference. So I start from A, I lock A, and I do B. What does this mean? This means how many columns do I have between column A and column B? That's it, both of them inclusive. You can see the red highlight here. That will be 2 columns. By the time you drag this formula to the right, because the A has a dollar, the A isn't going to move. So this formula will become A column C, which will now be ABC. That will become 3. When you drag it again one more time, the A is still going to be fixed because of the dollar. Then this B would have become C and would have become D, and it will be ABCD, and it will be 4 then. So that's the way you create, that increment or arithmetic progression, if you may, of 2, 3, 4. So I do this and I close the bracket. Let's see if this works. I think we need one more bracket. Okay, 93. So let's double click down. We are fine, and let's take it right. Okay, so this is probably maybe the best way to do it under the circumstance. It's just one other way of doing, extracting data from other sheets. When you have the sheet names here, and if there are a lot, and you don't have to write the formula one after the other, pointing to each sheet to pick, the references you want. You can just use the indirect function with the name and just some creativity, and you get what you want. Always know that whatever you are trying to do, you are just trying to form this string. This is what you are trying to do. You are just trying to recreate this, which is an apostrophe, the name of the sheet, an apostrophe, an exclamation mark, and the cell reference. That's all I'm trying to do. Forget about how big this looks. That's the whole objective, right, of this. So when you look at this formula now, you see it's columns A to B. When you move now right, it becomes A to C, it becomes A to D, and it becomes, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how it creates that. And because it's the same thing all the way, you're just fine. You don't need to change the 9. You just leave it that way, and that's kind of how it works. So the indirect function, very useful. In subsequent videos, we can look at some other use cases, but I think this one that really comes in handy when you want to pick data from many sheets and you have the sheet names already. You can just use the indirect, function rather than a formula reference that you keep changing for each of the sheets that you have in there. Okay, so like I always say, if you can think it, Excel can probably do it. So if you love this video, you can subscribe to the channel. You can always click the like button. It never hurts to do that. Thank you.